webinar is now streaming live on YouTube.
Yes. Okay, Sandy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Sandy Vallis, who's
Okay.
will be running, sharing tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Josephine. For all those on the webinar, welcome. I'm sure you were expecting our chair, Jana, which is much prettier than I am, but I hope I could make do for tonight. Tonight we do have two things on the agenda, and our first item on the agenda is a report on the Bay Ridge Center, and that's going to be given by the director, Todd Fieldner.
Hey, Sandy.
Hi, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing good, Sandy. Yeah, so I took over in September as executive director at the Bay Ridge Center. You know, I've been with the center for 7 years now.
Congratulations.
So yes, and I'm very excited. And just to give you a little background, as Josephine and a lot of you well know, we Bay Ridge Center has been searching for a new home for many, many years. We are in the basement of the Bethlehem Lutheran Church, and they have been wonderful to us. But we are operating in a space that totals about 5,000 square feet. And obviously, you know, our membership has grown, our programming has expanded, and we really outgrew the space many, many years ago. When Marianne became executive director 10 years ago, one of her objectives was to find a new home. And she and I really have worked together for the last 5 years, you know, trying to make that happen. This past spring, Department for the Aging, we had to renew our contract with them, and that meant filing a new proposal. And they wanted very ambitious proposals given the projected growth of senior populations. And ours was one of the neighborhoods where the most growth is projected in the next 10 years. So we gave them a very ambitious proposal, which involved a move to a new space. And believe it or not, they awarded us the contract. Now, when they first awarded us the contract, it was about $500,000 less than we needed to successfully operate. And after about a month of budget negotiations with DFTA, they came through with the extra money. They have tripled our budget. Our budget previously was under $1 million. Now it's over $2 million. And so it's going to allow us a move to a new space. And we have secured a lease, a 15-year lease on 15 Bay Ridge Avenue. As a lot of you know, that's the old Metropolitan Life building. And basically it's 2 floors. We are going to receive it in the spring, gutted, a white box, and then we're going to use capital money that David will talk a little bit more about to outfit and configure the inside. It's a dream come true. It's 21,000 square feet. We're going to quadruple our size, and we are going to be able to give the older adults of Southwest Brooklyn a home that is worthy of who they are in society. And we are so proud that we have finally made this happen. It's really a great, great thing. So my colleagues tonight are Kathy King, who is the Director of Older Adult Center Services. By the way, DFTA, they're not seniors anymore. According to DFTA, they did a survey and determined that seniors would rather be called older adults. So that's the term we use now. And David Dring, who has been with us 2 years now, he is our Director of Innovative Programming for Older Adults. And I'm going to pass it on to him to do a short presentation about the journey to here.
Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen and just kind of walk through a PowerPoint presentation for you all, just over a couple of minutes. Let's see. Yep. So just tonight, this is a nice picture. I think this is Bay Ridge Avenue. So it's kind of fun to use that as a way.
Bay Ridge Parkway.
Oh, yes, thank you. Right. I get those confused a little bit. But tonight, I just talk a little bit more on the update of our programmatic activities since we were last presented here actually 2 years ago, which was a great opportunity to talk a lot about what we were doing during the pandemic. And unfortunately, we're still talking a lot about what we're doing through the pandemic. And then just as Todd mentioned, we were awarded a very substantial new contract for what they call the network. So one of the things that I've been really very proud of with the Bay Ridge Center is that it has been open every single day of the pandemic. And it has continued operating its home delivered meal program every single day to over almost 600 people receive meals from that program every day, hot meals. And to have had that be able to happen throughout the pandemic is just a real, I think, testament to the overall focus and true dedication to securing older adult lives through the staff. We just about 6 months ago, were able to sort of constitute on-site programs and services, but only at 25% capacity. That was what was predicted, that was safe and would allow us to appropriately social distance. So everybody in the center wears masks. We're not allowed to ask whether or not people have been vaccinated or not. We try to do that as stealthily as we can, just to kind of give people the greatest amount of confidence. We still have a vaccination program that provides people with assistance to find vaccinations, to find booster shots, to be able to receive transportation to those and point out what are the places that are offering the $100 bonuses and things of that nature. So we're doing all that we can to help older adults be as safe as possible during this period. We've continued doing our virtual programming. Before the center was open, we were still up to about 30 to 35 classes a week that were all done virtually. We're trying to bring as many of those back to the center to kind of encourage people to come back and be a part of our community. And so that's been going quite well. And as I was mentioning, our home delivered meal program and also our free transportation that we were able to provide, that we coordinated through groups like Uber and Lyft and JCC of Greater Coney Island. For folks that don't know about the JCC of Greater Coney Island, their free transportation program for seniors is unbelievable. They would really take people to wherever they need, and they're really a sort of southwestern area and receive funding to be able to do that, such that the trips are really quite, will be as low cost, if not free, for folks as possible. And Kathy and I were in a meeting earlier today, and we were talking about the number of wellness check-ins that the folks have done. It's, in the thousands, greater than
5,000, David. Yep.
Right, that have been called by staff or interns just to make sure that everything is going well for them, or to be able to provide whatever kind of assistance that they might be able to need. So I couldn't resist showing off a little view of the new facility. Our colleague Ruth put on the future home of Bay Ridge Center. So that actually doesn't appear on the building at the moment. It is a fake photo, as I guess I should, to be sure that there's no controversy about that. But as you can see, it's a wonderful 2-story building. We'll have a very large entrance. We'll have the ability to bring our transportation in. We will actually have 3 different buses that will, these sort of van that will be able to come to the space, and we'll, working on different ways of shuttling them there so that it should make it as easy as possible for as many as people to be able to get there. Just as we were talking about before, this is a network awards. That means there are multiple locations. So we have one that will be here at 15 Bay Ridge Avenue. The other location that we have is 7609 3rd Avenue, which is what we call our neighborhood north. At 15 Bay Ridge, Todd mentioned that we'll have over 21,000 square feet across 2 different floors. And we're actually going to be dividing our floors into a health and wellness section, as well as a lifelong learning area to essentially allow for to be very clear about all the different kinds of activities. We will have a large multi-purpose, and which essentially will serve also as our dining room. of a very large exercise studio, and then a whole host of classrooms. Today, we have no classrooms to be able to offer any of our programs. And so the opportunity to have these multiple classes to be on 2 different floors with an elevator is really quite remarkable. So just to show off a little bit of some of our excitement, this is the first floor. And so as you would come in that big door, the way that we showed you, over to the left will be a very large, 48, almost 50 feet by almost 40 feet dining area that will be set up for, that will allow us to do not only meals, but also other activities in that particular space. We will have dividers that will allow us to even further create more spaces for people to engage in activities. And the thing that I'm most excited about is our, what I'm calling fitness studio. So pretty much the same amount of space, 40 by 50, will allow us to have exercise equipment, will allow us to do a whole host of classes that will be separate from everything else. It is the case that making it easier for people to come and join our exercise classes. It's nice that not other people are watching them do their exercises, which can be intimidating or making them feel uncomfortable. So this will be an area a little bit like the gym curves, where it will be sort of closed off, but people can then still be able to have light from the ways that we're going to create the environment. And so to have both weightlifting, exercise equipment like ellipticals, treadmills, and things of that nature will really help improve our exercise programs even more than they are. Our exercise programs today are the most exciting or the most sought after classes that we offer. We'll then have a classroom for typical, in terms of sort of discussion activities, as well as having a computer and media lab that will be available on the first floor. We won't actually cook any food in our facility. We'll continue to cook food over at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church, and then we'll bring it here, and then it will be served from this location. And so you may have known that we recently renovated our kitchen, so it's really in primo shape for being able to do as many meals as it needs to do, and we'll be able to then provide those to folks here, and they will remain hot. And still trying to determine, or may even alternate, whether we do this as a buffet or whether we're serving this. It will sort of really depend on what our members would like. On the second floor, which you could get to either by the stairway that's at the front, and this really is one of those more elegant, almost like marble staircases that you have in sort of those Southern mansion kind of things, or by the elevator that people could use to get up. But then we'll have 4 different classrooms up here. We're calling them studios at the moment because one of them might be an art studio. We might do so that it would have a kiln in it, as well as all of our other sort of supplies. We may do another one for some of the book groups that we're doing, and sort of line these walls with books that people might be reading over time, as well as other classes like we're doing on art history, and we're I'm blanking on some of the other classes, but we will also have administrative offices up on the second floor. We do a lot of activities we were mentioning in terms of the phone calls that were 5,000 wellness calls. Being able to provide people closed doors to be able to have those conversations will be an important part of our activities. And then we'll also have a sort of a conference room, if you will, for folks there on the second floor. So I'm just going to pause for a moment because I often get very excited about this stuff and just talk and talk and talk. So I don't know if there are any questions anybody has about either.
I do want to add one quick thing. Given the space we're going to have, we really want to welcome community groups. In other words, when we are not occupying the space, we hope this will be a place where other community groups can utilize the space for their activities. We really want this to be community oriented.
Community board meetings there?
Absolutely.
I don't see why not. Exactly. Yeah, we want to share. We want to share this with our community. Okay, go ahead, David.
Well, actually, I see that Jill had a question. She maybe is going to ask the same
Jill.
question that she put in the chat. So I can answer that one, or if you had a different one.
No, same question. I just didn't know if you saw it or not. So thank you very much.
Sure. So Jill mentioned, why can't we ask about vaccinations? And unfortunately, it is a regulation that's been handed to us by the Department for the Aging. They are considering vaccinations a medical issue, and so then it becomes a part of sort of, what are the regulations on HIPAA? It's something that I personally don't agree with. And I know that restaurants have been doing it in the past, so why would we be different? And certainly because of older adults being so vulnerable, why wouldn't we want to, really focus on making sure the environment was as safe as can be? It's kind of an odd thing, but we are having to deal with the regulations that we're given, unfortunately.
So do you require masks?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So everyone is masked, and everybody has to be masked unless they're eating. So it's kind of a, like a little bit of time that people get to eat. But then we've created the tables that are all so that everyone is 6 feet apart, and that we've also put in plastic between people so that while they're eating, that's what they call the sneeze guard. It won't be able to get to the other person. But since they're clear plastic, once they put their mask back on, they can, have good conversations with each other.
We have another question from Julie Thumb.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? I was just wondering, now that you have this space, or you'll have it, I don't know exactly the date you're going to occupy it. What are you going to do with the 7609 4th Avenue? Are you going to still have some of the same things there, classes and things, or are you going to divide the events? How are you going to work out the two spaces?
That's a great question. So just to be very clear, the activities at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church, those will all quit except for the creation of the food for home delivered meals and for our congregate lunches. The activities that will happen over at 7609 3rd, which is our naturally occurring retirement community, will continue to go on, and will continue to focus on meeting the needs of the sort of the target population of people who've been going to the north. So these have been, like, for example, we offered a digital photography class there last year that was very well received. That's a class that doesn't go over very well at the senior center, because most of the people at the senior center aren't really very familiar with all the mechanics of operating a digital camera. So things will be at a little bit of a different level over at the NORC. But we continue to advertise and promote both programs equally at each center.
So would it be then to different age groups, you mean?
Yes,
So
I was just going to say that they are much younger, older adults. at the
younger
North.
seniors like me?
Yeah, like all,
60s?
yeah, like me.
Yeah.
And there's some of them are still working. Some of them are just, retiring and
Mhm.
need some things to keep them occupied. Some want to volunteer. So they are, I would say 60 to low, like
75?
60,
I heard about 75 is the sort of.
even I would think younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, totally different interests.
And Julie, one of the hallmarks of Norks is that it's a specific catchment area, and the neighborhood is supposed to determine what they want to see at the NORC. So there's a much greater focus on health and wellness. We're still really working out an identity there. COVID has really impacted it. We opened in November 2019, and we were just starting to build momentum. And then the following March, we had to shut down. So we're kind of like starting from scratch again with the NORC in terms of, really reaching out to the members of the catchment area.
Great.
Thank you.
So if it's okay, I'll just keep going down to the next one. And so just in terms of what are some of our next steps in order to be able to make this place be as wonderful as it could be. And I think it's really worth noting what Todd had said earlier, that the Bay Ridge community over the next 10 years will grow from the number of older adults by 30%. It's one of the highest in all of New York City. And so we're really excited to have this whole building for us to not only serve the older adults, but also be able to incorporate more of the community so that we have that sort of vibrancy of activity that's happening there. So the Department for the Aging has been great in terms of the resources that they're making available for us, but it's operations money. It's not direct capital resources. We have received some capital resources from elected officials. So the government is certainly helping us be able to put the space together. But as Todd mentioned, the space currently is gutted all the way down to the concrete walls. And so we will have to then go from those walls through the wiring to the drywall, to the paint, to the carpet, to all of those other sort of components, all the way through to, paying for the different pieces of equipment that we want to be able to put in. So we are, beginning, if you will, a capital campaign to try to help us raise the balance of what we know or what we believe the costs are going to be. We're still working with our architects to figure out all the details. We are approaching a number of foundations, local corporations, but we also would like to think through a strategy of what would make the most amount of sense to be able to reach out to Bay Ridge residents to be able to support this activity. So these funds will be used for either the general construction or the outfitting of the particular spaces, such as the exercise equipment for the exercise studio. And we're going to be creative, and we're going to be open in terms of what might be the different ways that we can recognize people for any sort of contributions that they make, whether we give it to the Todd Fliedner, Bay Ridge Center space, give him the name of the space, or somebody else that we may do. Each room may choose to make sense for it to be recognized. So there's lots of opportunities, and we're at the very early stages of figuring out how we can move all this stuff forward. And then I will just end in, so if anybody wants to reach us about any of this kind of stuff, certainly Josephine has all of our contact information, but to put it up here for you as well. And then I guess take any additional questions that folks may have.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Todd, David, Kathy. Thank you for the great news. This is really fantastic news for the seniors of Bay Ridge. This really is way overdue. Being that we were bursting at the seams to begin with on 4th Avenue, and I'm sure that the seniors will be overjoyed, ecstatic at the new home that Bay Ridge Center has.
Can I ask about the capital program?
Sure. Yes.
How can we reach out to the general community? I know you're going to do corporations and you're going to do grants and whatever, but I think for we as community members who want to make sure you succeed, are there ways that you can suggest that we help you participate in that?
Well, first and foremost, Judy, please spread the word. We want to do
social
awareness
media
campaigns. About 2 years after I started at Bay Ridge, somebody walked in one day and they said, "We didn't even know you existed." Because being in the basement of a church, one of the key things we're going to do beginning in the spring is an outreach campaign where we just want visibility. I think that as far as I'm concerned, everyone who lives in Bay Ridge should have a stake in Bay Ridge Center, because we're all going to be an older adult someday. We have children. Yeah, right. So obviously, for the personal part of the campaign, capital campaign, we really want to reach out to the whole of Bay Ridge. Because you know that old thing, like remember when Barack Obama did, like if everybody gives $10, you know, it could be that simple. I mean, there are, you know, we're putting together those strategies now. But as you know, I'm a tenacious fundraiser, and yeah, but really, one of the reasons we were really excited to present tonight is I want to hear from you. I want your ideas
I
because
have an idea. As I do my work with older people, they all complain about, my IRA, I have to take a distribution and then I have to pay taxes on it. And I have to, they were so happy when the year of COVID, they didn't have to take the distribution. They could let that money pile up and they don't have to take it till age 72. I can encourage them to say, you could give your IRA distributions to the Barrett Center and you don't have to pay the taxes on it. Guess
Yeah.
what? So
Exactly.
strategy, and everyone gets that every year. And if they just took a piece of it and gave it to you, probably it would save them this taxes. So if we can calculate, you're gonna have to pay of your $5,000 IRA distribution, 2,000 is going to taxes. Give that 2,000 to the Barrett Center and you saved yourself taxes. Maybe we can figure out a strategy because
I would love that. I think that's an
their IRAs, and maybe they would be convinced that it's good for you and good for them to give you that distribution.
Because at the heart of it all, I want this to be a place that we all own because it's for the future. And we're going to be able to leave a legacy for people for generations to come. And I know that sounds really corny and Hallmark and everything, but that's the way I feel. I mean, I'm so proud that we were able to accomplish this. And I have the most amazing team at the Bay Ridge Center. It's, we really are a team. And I think that's integral to the success of us. I mean, we've been around 46 years and we faced some really tough chapters along the way. And for us to come out at this point, at the end, and it's really exciting.
I don't know if anybody knows, but they were the first senior center in the country.
I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Somebody has something going on. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself so we can hear everybody.
I wanted to say, if I may, I typed it in the chat. Social media is very important.
Oh, yeah.
And even older, I mean, my 93-year-old, almost 93-year-old father is, on Facebook. It's very important to put it out there in the social media. I'm pretty active on it. I post things from the community board all the time. I always ask Josephine to send it as a shareable thing, and I post it. And people thank me a lot of the times they didn't know about things going on. So I'm happy to post anything that is needed and put it out there to all my clients and just everybody on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them.
One thing that we want to do once we begin our part of the construction in the spring is we segments and do like a video blog so that the community can see the progress we're making week to week. We want to keep an active profile and let people know how things are progressing. And at this stage, we want to hear from the community about any ideas that they have, because we're at the juncture where we still can incorporate things. It's going to be 2 or 3 months before our work is going to start. So we really do want feedback from the community because it's everyone's center. And
we'll be having focus groups, right?
Yes.
Along the way.
Yes.
So one other thing I just wanted to address is that we will be creating some advisory committees for us as we move forward, not only with some of the programmatic stuff in terms of what would be going on with some of the focus groups, but also on our capital campaign. So, your idea, Judith, about, thinking about a strategy for the IRAs or some other things that may come up would be great, because, the more that we can hear from the residents about what would feel comfortable for us as we sort of try to proceed with this, I think the happier everyone will be with the outcome.
I think Julie has another question she
Yeah.
indicated.
Yeah, sorry. So before the pandemic, I was personally going to do something called, I actually took this class at the Bay Ridge Jewish Center, which is my synagogue. Ruth and I both belong there. And I went to something called Stop the Bleed, which is if someone, in the event of, God forbid, a serious accident, you can, do a tourniquet and all that. Anyway, I was going to do something like that actually in the Fort Hamilton Army Base and just have people come, clients and just invite people to have this, and it's free. So I'd love to do something like that at the Bay Ridge Center, which could be good for the community at large, could be good for seniors, it could be good for pretty much anybody. I would love to be able to host something like that. I don't know if that's going to be permissible or not, or she said
I'm actually the person that gets to put together all the innovative programs. So I'll reach out to you and see what we might be able to do. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're limited now because of the 25%. I know all of us here never thought COVID was going to go on this long. And, we're really hoping that by the time we move, we can operate at full capacity, that we'll have this under control. And because, to have all this space and then be limited to how much we can use is going to kind of be
Kathy, you have a question or a comment? Kathy?
No,
Oh, your hand is
I
raised,
saw
Kathy.
your hand.
is my hand raised?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
can you please remind us when you're moving, when you're planning to be there?
our target date is summer, this coming summer. That's our
Oh,
target.
so hopefully by then. Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? I don't see any.
I just want to say a great big congratulations. This
Thank
is
you, Iris.
so
Thank you.
exciting.
Thanks, Iris.
It'll be great for the community and anything I can do to help. And I look
Yeah.
forward to becoming a member.
Yeah, there you go.
Great to see you, Iris.
Okay, to Todd, David, and Kathy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the great news. Keep on,
Thank
and we look forward to seeing the completion of the project. And we wish you all the success in the world.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, this is really great news, and your enthusiasm is just so wonderful to see. I can just tell that, especially, David, I don't know, you can barely contain yourself, and it's just so great to see. I think it's going to be such a wonderful thing for the neighborhood.
Lori, it was official because we had to get the countersign lease back before it was official.
Yes.
That happened in mid-December. It was like, okay, I got my Christmas gift. I don't need anything else. This is more than I could have hoped for.
For you and for the community. This is great. And do keep in touch and give us updates so that, we
Absolutely.
do also have a newsletter, and we post things, so we can get word out, on what you're doing and, your plans. And I know Josephine has also been very passionate about this. So
Yes.
I'm sure that, she will be more than happy to include any news and to update, the board. And we do public outreach. So to get the word out, we can definitely help.
Lori, one of the things that I learned over my tenure at Bay Ridge Center is how lucky we are to have such a great partnership with Community Board 10. I don't have to go on and sing Josephine Beckman's praises, or I'll do it again anyway. She is amazing. She is amazing. Judy
Amazing.
Grimaldi has been a part of this journey. We are so lucky. We have community partners who really believe in us, and that makes all the difference.
Yep.
We do. We have a huge senior, population here, and we need you, and they're so happy for you. I see you guys, you're all over the place.
Yep.
We see you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ruth had her hand raised too, Ruth?
Yes. I just want to add that this is a great boon for the community, and certainly we know for the seniors, but the community in general has been in such need of community space for different kinds of things. I know the Beirut Jewish Center has been approached so many times, and we've always been willing to give our space, but we're not handicapped accessible, which has caused a problem. So to have a space that you're willing to share is just wonderful for every age group. So thank you for that. And I'm here to help like the
All
whole
right, Ruth.
community. So
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.
great thing.
And,
Julie, I think you had something to say also.
I put it in the chat, but I just said, please let me know when I'm allowed to blast this. on
you're
social
allowed.
media.
You're allowed. I'll send you a
I'm allowed
picture.
now?
Yes, you're allowed now.
Oh, okay, good, because I didn't,
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Yep. The cat's out of
Okay.
the bag.
I'm going to do it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? I don't see anything else from anybody. Okay, thank you, guys.
And I think we had one other item on
Yeah.
the agenda, just a real quick announcement, right, Sandy?
Yes, we have something regarding the Hope Count 2022. The Department of Homeless Services, with an acronym DHS, will conduct its annual homeless outreach population estimate, which is HOPE survey, a pinpoint time survey undertaken each winter that helps the city estimate the number of unsheltered New Yorkers living on the street on one of the coldest nights of the year. The results gathered through the survey will provide the city with valuable information that helps determine how best to allocate resources in support of New Yorkers in need. Volunteers are needed approximately 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. on the night of January 25th. Persons interested should visit nyc.gov/hope to register. We hope to fly. There's also a flyer. I guess Josephine will put that on the CB10 website.
Yes, we're gonna have that on the CB10 website, and we're gonna do a newsletter blast as well.
Okay, so anybody that's interested and can help, it's a very worthy cause. Trying to find out exactly. I mean, we all know that we have people that are on living on the streets, and it's very unfortunate. And especially now during the winter months, we're all safe and sound and snug in our homes. But we also have to remember that there are a lot of people that are just living in the streets in any warm corner that they can find. So any help that we can give them would be much appreciated. Any questions or comments?
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I don't see any questions or comments. So again, thank you all for attending the meeting. It was fantastic news from Todd, David, and Kathy. Thank you again for that. And I'm sure that we have bigger and better things for the seniors in Bay Ridge.
We do.
Thank you.
I hope Jana feels better, and looking forward to Jana taking over the helm again at our next meeting. And to all, Happy New Year, and be well and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandy.